even if people could somehow not discover she has tits and a pussy in that place where everyone goes bare chest. Welcome back to Cream Crew with all 3 members for the first time in 3 years. Yippee! Yippee!
In 3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. 3 years. Oh, the Space King hoodie is looking pretty good. This is a prototype, and I think I look just fabulous. Just fabulous. Except these drawstrings are insane.
The new one?
Insane. Yes.
Yeah, they gave you enough drawstring to hit yourself, I heard.
That's fucking beautiful. That's what I like about you, Don. Very glass half full kind of guy.
Kind of nice. Maybe the next hoodie we do, that could be a selling point.
Don, you should go on cruises more often. I've never heard you make so many good points so quickly.
It is kind of unique. They're down to like your kneecaps, right?
They're literally down to my belly button.
It's pretty funny.
Pretty sick. But all in all, apart from that, like, it's a damn fine hoodie.
Yeah, Tom has been hogging the prototypes. I don't get to have them. I don't get to see them.
Well, I feel like I kind of put in the real legwork on the prototypes. Feel like I earned these trophies.
That's fair. I'll grant you that one.
Thank you, boss.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, are we gonna fucking dive head first into Furiosa? Is that the order of the day?
Let's do it!
I wanna know your thoughts, Don, because I know Hunters.
The more I think about it, the less I like it. Is where I'm at.
And why is that?
Because the less sense any of it makes. Like I keep like when I got out of the movie, I was like, that was a pretty good movie, but it was nowhere near as good as Fury Road. But the more I think about it, the more like I think that was a good movie feeling is revealed as just kind of being, like, yay, motorcycle chariot. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, no, so what don't you like about it? What are these thoughts that keep popping up?
I hated Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa. Thought she was awful.
Okay.
I thought really the most glaring, obvious mistake of the whole thing was the CGI and color grading. Like, I don't know. I really can't understand how you follow up Fury Road with, like, a 70% CGI movie and just expect to get away with it, Although evidently it seems like they have. It seems like a lot of people just don't notice the CGI, which is mystifying to me.
It's going to be egg on your face, bro. Like, they're going to come out and be like, every part of this was fucking, like, no CGI was used, and George Miller's going to laugh in your face.
Every part, even the little person scene. I think that was probably the most gratuitous, like, obvious green screen tell. You know what I'm talking about?
No, what part are you talking about?
There's like the little guy, the little war boy, right?
Right.
And he keeps going in the hatch, and every shot is just like gratuitously, clearly studio lighting, with like a Xbox 360 desert background behind him.
That's funny. I did not notice.
It bothered the fuck out of me, and that's that whole like thing. Like, do I press the button now? Like that whole scene is like 5 minutes of just. No one is actually doing a dangerous stunt,
That was actually John Rhys Davies, and they just scaled him down with CGI.
Oh, it's crazy.
No, I'm joking.
Oh.
Are you joking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you weren't, were you? What the fuck? How could you believe that was John Rhys Davies?
Obviously.
Anyway. Okay, what else?
Let me pull up my list here.
Damn.
Well, I knew we'd be doing this, so I collected my thoughts. You guys already had your powwow. You already talked about it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Do you want me to go through mine?
Yeah, sure. I'll jump in. Or we.
So I thought it was okay. It was okay. I always feel embarrassed saying stuff like this because like I'm not George fucking Miller, so it's like I feel like I have no room to speak. But for my opinion, I thought Dementus was like a very wasted antagonist because it seemed like they went to great pains to make him seem quite incompetent, and it took all of the like fear out of anything happening to Furiosa because of him, because he just seemed so like inept. Like everything he did almost always went wrong, and it just made me like, well, this guy's not a threat then. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that kind of sucked for me anyway. Also, like I could not stand the casting of like Anya Taylor-Joy's love interest. I thought he just looked kind of like a dopey retard. And I also think they didn't. Now I know Hunter maybe doesn't agree. This was like a love interest thing. I thought it was like a love thing. I feel like they did not build, even if it wasn't a love thing, they did not build that relationship up at all. It like not even a bit. It was just like Anya Taylor-Joy was like, by the way, I'm fucking sick with guns and combat, even though like it seems like she was like a mechanic kind of person for whatever most of. I guess we don't see what else she's done, but anyway. That was it. That was their entire like chemistry. Was like, oh, you're good at shooting guys, and then we're supposed to care when he like. This is gonna be full of spoilers, everyone. We're supposed to care when he dies, and I felt nothing.
Yeah, I felt the whole like that was supposed to be like a big, dark, horrible scene of trauma. You know. Where her arm is getting ripped off and she's watching him like be murdered slowly by bikes. But yeah, I felt absolutely nothing. Also, not a.
And I didn't understand how she like escaped.
Her arm just ripped. Yeah, like, how did nobody see that her arm ripped off and she ran away?
Like there's like literally a circle of bikes, like forming like a bubble around the thing. She runs away and she takes a bike and like escapes. So that bothered me. Like I also feel like all the Gastown, Bullet Farm, and Citadel stuff was wasted too. It's almost like to me the Furiosa component did not need to be there, and maybe you could make, because this is something Hunter pointed out that I noticed too, is like, and it's they make a point of it, is like Chris Hemsworth's character Dementus is basically supposed to be like kind of a communist like icon for his, or at least that's the veneer he uses, right, to get followers. And then you've got Immortan Joe, who's kind of got these religious fanatics. And like that, to me, is already way more interesting than a half-baked Furiosa, like, plot. Not that it had to be that way, but like it just did not feel like... It felt like they did two plot lines half-baked. Power struggle between these three things.
Yeah, that's a great point. It would have been a much better movie if it was like warring factions. You know, but more fully realized. Yeah,
I mean that's how I felt. I think when I was talking to Hunter earlier, he was saying like that they did that montage thing, and it was like, oh man, why couldn't I see that?
Yeah, for real. And then after the montage, so it's it's bullshit. Then there was a wasteland war for 40 days, and there's your little montage, and then immediately after that. She fixes her arm. She steals a car. She's given evidently the last running car in the whole Citadel. They just give to her for no reason. And then she just like steals the other people's car with no problem. And then literally just goes and kills them all with no issues at all. Like immediately finds them and immediately just systematically kills all of them and then kills him, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, I didn't even... He gets... at some point in the movie, Dementus gets sidelined quite heavily. So, when they've been apart for so long at that point, like, I felt like a lot of the tension of their relationship had been, like, let out of the balloon. So, when she finally kills him, it didn't feel like as impactful as maybe it could be. Yeah. Hunter, I've been sucking up all the air in the room.
Oh no, I'm enjoying listening.
Okay. I think the car combat, like this is something that I feel like goes for the whole film to some extent. Fury Road, something it did very well in my opinion, is it made fantastical elements feel like they made sense and could work. So like you got the biker guys with the grenades, like doing jumps and throwing shit. You've got like the war rig and its cool like sand thing that like douses the flames. Like it feels like despite being fantastical, all of it was believable. In this, like the flying vehicles, like all that shit that seems like the dumbest fucking idea ever. Like you've got these things attached to strings to bikes and it's like that's the easiest thing to take down ever. You just have to tangle up that string that's connecting them. Mm-hmm. And it just felt like a lot of that action stuff felt too like I guess unbelievable to me. I thought the war rig design was fucking sick. That was tight. It
was all new and shiny.
Yeah. It had it like don't get me wrong, there was plenty to like about the film. It just felt like lots of cool elements that did not get meshed together very well in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of the long and short of my things. Oh, also that really bothered me. I did Anya Taylor-Joy, like, even if people could somehow not discover she has tits and a pussy in that place where everyone goes bare-chested all the time because it's fucking like radioactive nuclear Australia in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she was just a twink and had like a feminine penis, everyone would have been trying to get up in there. Especially because she's so scrawny and can't defend herself. So
that being said, I did appreciate that they did do the one token fire scene, and she escapes. You know, like she was ready for
when
it.
She's a kid.
His Immortan Joe's son. You know.
Oh, but that was when she was a child. I'm talking about when she's like grown up.
Right.
Like, how did no one?
Yeah. I mean,
also, like,
obviously, but I'm just giving him props for at least kind of trying to acknowledge it. You know.
Well, they tried a couple times. Like, she's pissing by herself, and the guy catches her, and he's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, shakes her piss bottle because she's a mute. He's like, also, like, there's no chance throughout this whole time being like a weird gear mechanic person that she didn't catch her thumb in something and then scream. Like, I don't know. And yeah, she's like, "Well, I'm pissing by myself," and it's like, okay, so everyone else who just pisses everywhere and anywhere, this one like very feminine penis boy keeps sneaking off to like have his secret urines, stuff like that. It just, I don't know.
It didn't quite make sense.
I much prefer bitching about stuff than like lauding it. So this probably sounds super negative, but this is where I'm at.
I did think Motorcycle Chariot was sick.
Yes, Motorcycle Chariot was definitely cool.
And I like on balance, I thought Chris Hemsworth's whole character, like his acting and like lots of things about it were awesome. Like I loved the his cloak thing changing colors and then him like changing his name because his cloak changed colors, you know?
Oh, I'm Dark Dementus.
I have to be dark now. Yeah.
I have to be Angry Dementus. So, no, I agree. Chris Hemsworth character was, like, Dementus was fun. It's just, I wish they could have done a bit more with him.
Also, why... I may have been missing something fundamental that I just forgot about the movie, but it occurred to me today. Why would she go back and waste her seed that she carried for 15 years to make a weird dick plant from Chris Hemsworth? Like, and plant that in the Citadel?
Dick plant was hype, though. Dick plant was pretty hype.
I mean, I thought it was kind of like pretty ham-fisted and hard to believe, which sounds retarded when you're talking about Mad Max if you don't think about it. But
well, I think in fairness, though,
in
for
their
that
own
part,
way, like almost everything in Mad Max feels fantastically believable, you know. But for him,
I think in fairness to that part, though, like it's being told by the history man.
True.
And that feels like he even says, like, leading up to that bit, there's like all these different versions of what happened. So I took that as like, well, this is like the story fantastical version of it, you know?
Yeah. I think just the way it plays feels like you're meant to believe this is what actually happened. And isn't that tight? Isn't that so sick? You know? And they do some work to set it up, like her being like in the little like maggot farm thing, you know? Which is like, see, they can do this and keep people alive and like grow maggots to turn into toothpaste or something. But yeah,
Colgate.
I don't know. I just thought it was kind of like a wouldn't it be sick if, but not like fully integrated into something you can believe in the movie. Hey fellas, if you're anything like me, you have virtually no basic instinct for how to dress yourself and have to look to others and copy them to not feel like a retard. For example, you may have been caught up in the joggers phase and thought you looked really cool wearing glorified pajamas in public, but then you get a ketchup stain on them and now you feel like a slob. Luckily for you, today's episode of Cream Crew is once again sponsored by my favorite pair of pants, the Perfect Jean. These jeans, just as they did for me, can welcome you back to wearing jeans again because they're comfortable and they don't crush your balls and they don't look really stupid. It's very easy to find a cut that looks good on you without a lot of effort or trial and error. I remember when I was a middle schooler, and I was a chubster actually in middle school, and it was very difficult to find a cut of jeans. My mother went through many Levi's cuts of jeans. We tried many things, but with this brand, I'm confident those days can be over for you. The point is, the Perfect Jean solves all of your jeans problems with waist sizes available between 26 and 50 inches and lengths of 26 to 38 inches, as well as 6 different cuts. So if you're not into the skinny jean look, they've got your boot cuts, they've got your straight cut, they've got all the cuts, but good cuts that don't make you look like a little boy pair. They are truly the perfect jean, and for a limited time only, our listeners get 15% off their first order, including free shipping if they use promo code CREAM15. That's CREAM 15. Cream 15. As I've said in the past, they sent me these pants. I actually wear them all the time. They're currently my only pair of jeans that I wear. I've been meaning to order more. I actually put these on fresh today, so no stains this time, but you can check them out. They're very stretchy. They're very comfortable. I never feel like they're kind of being pushed to their limit or they're gonna rip or anything silly like that. And once again, they have free shipping, exchanges, and returns. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans and go to theperfectjean.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off their first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use promo code CREAM15. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc using promo code CREAM15. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Fuck your khakis and get the perfect jean.
So what were your other things about the film
that I liked or that I didn't like?
Either, I guess.
This list is in no particular order. I didn't like how weak the Bullet Town gate was. It autistically bothered me.
That is autistic.
just that, like, okay, so you live in a world where warfare is conducted by big like cars, right? So yeah. Chris Hemsworth's monster truck should not be able to knock over the gate to Bullet Town. It doesn't make any sense. It should be like wait, or at the very least, like make it like get all bent up and shit when it falls over. But it just falls over as one solid block, and then they use it as a cool motorcycle ramp to leave Bullet Town.
Didn't the war rig like slam into it pretty hard? Maybe that like loosened the joints.
I don't remember. Maybe. I thought they just like pulled it up and got out and ran under because there was like cars slammed into it too. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember, but yeah. What else?
I didn't like how clean Chris Hemsworth's muscles were. I think he looked like very clean. You know what I'm talking about? Like his skin was kind of like blemishless. And I think that kind of carried through for a lot of the movie, especially compared to Fury Road. There was just a lot of stuff that seemed too clean. And I don't mean in a sense like I liked, like I was saying before, I think it was cool that they made the war rig like fresh chrome because they just built it, you know?
Yeah.
But just like the characters and a lot of the props as a whole just had like less dirt, like less dirtiness, which I think compounded with the other senses of like, this isn't practical. This is all like CGI, you know? It just felt like a lot more sanitized often in certain ways and more like cosplay-y versus like really believably weathered stuff.
Yeah, I can't stand the only part of that bothered me, like it's kind of adjacent, is for someone trying really hard to pretend to be a boy, like having really long hair like that seems dumb, especially when they establish she even cuts it off as a child.
Yeah,
like,
it's a giant.
She's trying to hide it under a hat and shit.
Yeah, why not just shave it off like way earlier?
And I have to assume it's because they wanted like the love thing, but to like actually it's probably because they're saying she's not really Furiosa yet until she goes bald. But it's like you've already established she's gonna go bald. Like what? Yeah. Why did they even include the scene of her making that wig and shit just for Rictus to? They could have had her escape in any other way, like So there was something significant to that.
And then if she just stayed bald after that, that would have made sense. You know, and it's like, fine. Okay, so she's been bald this whole time because she's trying to be a boy or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, what are you thinking?
Sorry, go on.
Were they trying to say that Mad Max like gave her a ride to the Citadel with that little cameo?
I don't think so, but it did. I definitely was like, A, that looked awful, like composition wise.
Yeah.
B, it was totally unnecessary. Like they did that a few times where I was like, oh look, there's Mad Max, and then they're like, oh, it's the Doof Warrior in his like montage. It just felt like needless pandering, almost in a Marvel-esque way, you know.
The Doof Warrior? You mean the guitar guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, remember him? Isn't he cool?
But yeah, to your point, like showing Mad Max looking at her faint in the desert and then her turning up at the Citadel does.
It feels like he gave her like a little ride.
Yeah.
And like right before that, they make it seem like she's not going to make it, but then that makes the plot of the Fury Road confusing because he just gets captured for having like a car, you know.
Yes, agreed. That was odd. I'm curious to hear from you, Hunter. What are you thinking?
I liked it. I think I liked it a lot. I think it obviously has its issues. I'm not saying that it's better than Fury Road by any means, but I think if you look at it single-handedly as like a 2-hour experience that is probably 98% action, I thought it was extremely amusing. I think you can like nitpick it and everything, and I might just be a George Miller stan or whatever, but 80-year-old man, this kind of feels like a love letter in a way to him, like saying goodbye in a bit of a way. And I think all the things that were wrong about the movie, I kind of appreciate that he did stylistically, because I think like Fury Road is done over the course of like a slice of life. Like it's like Mad Max, or Max gets captured right at the same time that Furiosa is about ready to revolt and take away these brides and stuff. And it's like a very singular thing, which makes it also feel much more cohesive and strong. But I appreciate that he did this like Greek tragedy, this kind of like Shakespearean epic over the course of time. I think like I appreciated the different, like it was different than any other Mad Max film in that way all the time. I think it did hurt it pacing wise, but I appreciated it creatively. I think like just all of the subtleties of like all of the little things in the movie, like even it being like digital and stuff, or like mostly on a green screen. Yeah, it's a shame, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, it just seems like it's just one of those things. Again, it's just me appreciating the fact that he's like trying just new shit. You know what I mean? And I think that's just really cool. But I think even the ending with Dementis and Furiosa's like back and forth was like the ending to like Macbeth or something. Like it was a very like Shakespearean love letter, even just how he like refers to himself and just how she's like, just the back and forth I thought was really beautiful. And I think even like the way that the scribe kind of talks about the story in a way, it all feels like, I mean, it feels like a Greek like mythological tale. It feels like something that would be like, you know, Perseus, or it would be like, I mean, even like Dementus's death is very reminiscent of like Prometheus in a way. And I think like, I don't think it's necessarily supposed to be real, but I think it's supposed to be something that's like meant to be given down and passed down for generations of like the guy who got what he deserved kind of thing. And like, you know, hope will prevail in like in a way without having to say it or whatever. I think the only parts that I thought were really a shame was the very beginning when her mom rides out of abundance and you have like the literal fattest person on earth living in abundance, where I'm like, there's no way that this morbidly obese woman would be. It was just distracting. She was just so unhealthily fat, where I was like, are they feeding her tater tots in abundance? Like, what the fuck does that, like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, it should, like, not that you just have to have beautiful people, and then not even that they have to be super skinny, but I was like, this is like a morbidly obese woman just like standing there. It was distracting. I didn't like the montage of the war. I understand. It like feels like, I was kind of telling Tom this before. I was like, I feel like if this was a Netflix limited series where he had like 9 hours, I feel like it would be very fleshed out and very like all the ideas would connect in a lot of good ways. It kind of felt like he was limited by studio and time is what it feels like. But I think so I didn't like the montage, and I think the biggest thing in the movie I didn't like, even over the fattest person on earth being in the film, was Furiosa building her arm. Like, I kind of wish she showed up, gave the information to Immortan Joe, and then like this like grub just kind of comes out with an arm and just shoves it in her arm, and he's like, come with me or something. But like her plotting and making the arm, I just thought was unnecessary, and it's just like, I don't know. I was like, this is lame when I was sitting there watching it. But I mean, I liked it, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I just really liked it. I think like even people bitching about like the action, I'm like, I thought all the action was fun. I think some of the vehicles were more fantastical and stupid. Like, I think you're right that Fury Road does a great job about like making it be like, oh, this makes sense. But I like the idea of him taking the creative leap to be like, how can we just like push it a little more and see what comes out? And even if it doesn't like inherently make sense, I just like the idea that a guy was given tens of millions of dollars and he just kind of like did this, and it like looks awesome. Like, I don't think there was a part in the movie, even the love interest thing. Sure, it might be put into like I didn't mind the love interest because it also wasn't like, there wasn't like a kiss scene. Like when she put her head on his, whatever. It's the same shit she did with her mom. It's like that level of trust and respect and love she does feel for him. But it wasn't something sappy where she's like screaming and crying while he's getting like torn apart and like ripped around. I think that like it felt like more of like a inherent friendship of a guy who sees somebody and he's like, I want you to leave because I never had the opportunity to. And I really like that. I didn't mind his character. I kind of liked that he wasn't like some hunk. He was just kind of like another guy in the wasteland. And that's also how his death is presented too, which I kind of like. But I don't know, looking at it outside of the fact that it's like, or looking at it from the outside in as like a Shakespearean epic, I really appreciated it. And I liked that it was kind of different than Fury Road, because I feel like if it was a direct sequel to, if it was like exact carbon copy of Fury Road again, I think that people would hate it even more. Or I think it would also just be like, we already saw this kind of thing. So all the differences I think were appreciated. And then that way too, Fury Road is like untainted. It's still like awesome. But at the same time, it feels like, you know, it is definitely not the perfect film, but I think like I enjoyed it way, way, way more than I expected I would. But it feels like, I don't know, Slayer South of Heaven after they released Rain and Blood. It's like, no matter what you do, there's nothing you can do to like ever compare to the epic nature of that lightning in a bottle kind of thing that you just did or whatever. And especially when you did it at 75 years old or whatever is just kind of crazy. So him being the age he is and still like putting this thing out into the world is fucking incredible. So I had fun with it. I enjoyed it for what it was. And that's my 2 cents.
Well, I'll reiterate.
Sorry, go on, Don.
It's like I was saying. I when I got out of it, I was like, you know, that was a good movie. I enjoyed that. And I'd also contend that it's like better than most action movies. It's just like you're saying, comparing it to Fury Road and seeing it fall short in ways Fury Road didn't was just disappointing, but probably inevitable in a lot of ways.
I think it's also one of those things where I'd be curious to watch this again in like a year and see how I feel, because I feel like Fury Road aged really well for me, and I wonder how Furiosa in time, whenever there's like, it's just that initial hype or whatever, but it's also, you know, it's just bound to be one of those things where, I don't know, it's impossible to like replicate like that perfection, you know? And it's like, I don't know. I try not to, if I compared everything to just like the peak, then I just feel like you would never get to appreciate all of the art someone gets to make or whatever. You know what I mean? If everything is just like micro, compared to those things, I feel like you would never appreciate the subtleties and even some of the work that isn't as strong. Because I still think there's a lot of enjoyment out of it.
I mean, you're right to an extent. There's only so much you can do when being compared to like the pinnacle, but on the same token, like they did it to themselves. Like if you make it a prequel and it has a ton of the same like elements, like same characters, same all of it, you are inevitably going to make it like that comparison so much more prevalent. Whereas if it was a completely different story about Max and he was elsewhere,
I mean, he should have done that.
I feel like people wouldn't.
I still agree entirely that it should have been Max, because that's the best part about Mad Max is the movie's not about Max. It's about the new areas he goes to and like the kind of struggle that he puts himself into, or like the conflict that he finds himself kind of like jammed into. But I think like, I guess he was supposed to make this movie before Mad Max or before Fury Road. This was like the original movie he was supposed to make, and then they made Fury Road instead. So I think it was one of those things too, where he was like, I already have this thing like made up in my head. I just want to make it. So I could see him also just being like, I'm just going to fucking make it kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, and
interestingly sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying also just the color theory of things. I know you said I agree. The coloring, I think the color correction was too much. I think like it just looked a little too like shiny, and I think that they were trying to replicate that chrome look that they got from like the blue sky and desert feel from the first one. But I think like the color theory and the surrealism in the film, I just thought was extremely palpable and strong and fucking awesome. Like Dementis changing over time of like he's super clean at the start because you know he's like a prophet and a savior, and then whenever he kind of gets he like decides he's going to go on this conquest, he turns red, and then after he loses this control, he like basically has like all the oil and it's like bleeding through and corrupting who he is. And also too, I just like, you know, I know we talked about this before, Tom, but the idea that like he feels like he falls short, I think so. I think it's just hard to split the time up between like what's supposed to be your main character, but I think like Dementis being this guy who is just like lying, you know, I mean, he is like a literal poster child for communism of like promises you the world and then it's never what you think it is, and then people are like starving, going mad, and he's just this guy who also had some shit happen to him, and he like went the polar opposite direction, and he just like is victimizing himself constantly in the film. And I just really enjoyed his character. Like I just thought it was really fun seeing him, and he was pathetic, and I think like that's like pretty much what he boils down to. Like he never really makes a decision for himself, and it's just kind of this guy who half-ass falls into places of power and stuff, and he like is fucking up the wasteland, and all the other lords hate him or whatever.
I think he also, it could, like to Tom's point, he was talking about how him being a doofus defangs him in terms of being a threat
Definitely.
to Furiosa.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you could have had it both ways. Like I think being, well, I think it's what they went for, him being like a dangerous idiot, you know?
Yeah.
He just didn't you didn't see that actually ever pose enough of a threat to her or anything.
Yeah.
So it didn't ultimately quite work. Like weirdly, even her losing her arm, like she didn't really achieve that. And I'm sitting here trying to think of like what would have, but
well, I kind of wanted the movie to take a direction where I thought that because she tattooed the map on her arm, I thought that they were going to cut off her arm and use her like arm as a map to try to get where she was going, and she would like stop them from getting there. So I do think like that was wasted there, but I don't know. I think they did a good job. I thought Anya Taylor-Joy actually kind of ruled. I thought she was cool. I thought she did a good job with everything. And I think, I don't know. It doesn't feel ham-fisty. It doesn't feel like the end of like, Avengers Endgame, where you have that moment where all the women jump into the trench and it's like, we're badass women, and it makes zero sense. Like, I feel like they keep everything pretty realistic. And I think because he's such like this doofus and there's other people, it's just like it's an interesting world because there's people who are trained to do things and stuff, and it's survival, but at the end of the day it's just a bunch of Australian retards in the desert. You know what I mean? And also another point I just want to say, I love the really love the when Dementis goes to the Citadel for the first time, and he's never been challenged because he's pretty much like in this part where he's like, my boys will do anything for me. And he actually comes across people where it's like, this is communism, where it's like, it's just communism versus religion. Cause then it's like the Citadels and Morton Joe's like, yeah, well, I have fucking fanatics here who will like jump onto you and explode. And they have like all the hooks that start picking it up. But it's like the first time where someone really, he like, I guess gets to be humbled and like see what real, like, I guess like a real following looks like. I think looks kind of interesting. I really loved that scene. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I thought that was a sick scene as well.
The hooks were cool.
I thought that's my autistic annoyance.
You didn't like the hooks?
They're sick. It just seems like the accuracy you'd have to have. Like, fuck. But
well, they're swinging everywhere, bro. They're gonna catch on to something eventually.
As an idea, like, if I'm not trying to be autistic, it's very sick. Like, it looked really cool and it's a really fun idea, but to the point of like Fury Road making everything feel believable, like that to me, I was like, can they? But I did love the, like what Hunter's saying, where Dementis kind of sees. But again, that makes me like pine for the movie where what's his like communistic answer to that? Like, what's the chess move he can make to counter that fanaticism? Like, can he use that fanaticism against them and make the film about, I don't know, these kind of warring cultures and stuff? Just seems like such a sick idea to me. But instead we watch like Anya Taylor-Joy kind of muddle her way through a plot that sort of doesn't fully make sense sometimes. Like, I don't know. It's like with the love interest too, like, make him too old for her to the point there is no love interest.
Yeah.
And like that fixes so much of the problem.
Was it like Leon the Professional kind of thing, whatever? That kind of deal?
You could even have all of the exact same scenes, and then it is just clearly like paternal instead of like this weird unearned relationship thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it could have been like, okay, first she's lost her mum and now she's going to lose like her adopted dad.
Yeah. For real.
Instead of like a boyfriend thing, like a weird,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I really didn't mind it. I think it's just, it's enough of a character where it's the first person in how many years that she like trusts or does love in that way, and her losing it there too. It's just one of those, it's just another strike of the match kind of thing.
I just think
did you see it as
the
like,
way that came off, like with her face. My biggest complaint with her as Furiosa, Anya Taylor-Joy, is she couldn't stop doing this fucking like model face where her mouth is slightly open and you see her teeth. You know what I'm talking about? It's just kind of it's like it looks like a photo shoot. Like, that's not Charlize Theron Furiosa. It's like this kind of like chic, like fashion look. And just made the whole thing seem like, okay, this is like, not the right actress in this costume right now. And it contributed to that same, like, this is a romance thing. Because she, like, when you're doing that next to that guy, it looks like fuck me eyes.
So, 7 out of 10, 6.5. So that's my vote.
Yeah, I mean, after I saw it, I gave it a 7 whenever I saw it with Allison and them.
Oh, there you go. All right, so that's really fucking interesting. I can bitch about something for that long and give it a 7, and you can kind of like do the opposite and give it a 7.
I just really don't think that there's anything real. Like, I mean, you can nitpick everything, and I think it comes from a place. I understand the place you guys are coming from with it too, where it's like it just could have been more, it could have been something better. But at the end of the day, for like a movie experience of going out, I had a great time with it. I think it's a master filmmaker. It just feels like a last hurrah kind of thing. And also, I will say, I know that the Mad Max insert in was fucking cringe, but I did like that it was Road Warrior Mad Max.
Yeah, I didn't. You said that. I didn't clock that at all. I was just like, oh, it's a Tom Hardy stand-in.
Yeah. So at least it places
that they chose that.
At least it places it a bit like within the first movie of like his entire franchise. I thought was just kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Well, you know what? I hope he makes 7 more. I hope he's 110 in the desert. Like, do one more take. That's my dream.
This wasn't meant to be the last one, was it? Isn't he meant to do another one? Or did I have that wrong?
I think they spoke about it, but the man is like surely dying at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say I thought Immortan Joe was actually pulled off pretty fucking well.
Yeah.
In the trailers, I thought he looked kind of like a bit whack, but in the actual thing, like, interestingly, I guess it makes sense because he's more in his prime, but he felt a lot more like dangerous in this one than he did in Fury Road. Like, he felt less like a big fucking retard.
He definitely
I thought I would hate that, but it actually worked really well.
He definitely felt like the leader of the wasteland kind of thing. Like, you could tell he was kind of like the puppet master of everything.
Well, in Fury Road, a big part of his character is like the kind of sham of his power, you know? He's like this fat old guy with spray paint abs, you know?
Yeah.
So you didn't really expect him actually being kind of like a man in his prime working, because it goes against that whole dimension. But yeah, I actually thought it was really cool. I thought his voice, that isn't actually the same actor either, de-aged or anything.
That guy died.
Yeah, I think the guy died.
They got another guy. Yeah.
I also like it was a shame because I didn't really use him much. I thought the other son was really compelling as well.
Yeah, the weird forehead guy.
Yeah, I thought he was actually like really interesting and like magnetic.
I thought he was gonna die because he's not in Fury Road, is he?
No.
So I was wondering. I thought that he was gonna die during the battle or something because he's such like a hothead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. I thought he was really fun.
Funny name, Scrotus. Scrotus and Rectus. Which is funny because it seems like that should be just kind of cheesy and gay, but it isn't.
I mean, that's like Mad Max, isn't it? You know, part of it is cheesy and gay, and that's like the fun of it.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like kind of like it betrays the seriousness of the world, you know? Like
yeah,
it still fits.
I thought Go on, Hunter.
I was just saying, I just don't think that they like introduce it in like a campy way. Like, I think they're just kind of like that's what it is. And I think that's like what doesn't like it doesn't feel like a cheap joke.
I don't know if it was the same in Fury Road, but that like the bookkeeper guy, like the mathematician guy, I don't know if you saw it, but in the scenes in the Citadel, he had like a gas mask tube like around his waist that made like a long cock. I thought it was funny.
No, I didn't see that.
No, just me.
That was good.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was funny. Yeah, fuck. What I wouldn't give to see, I don't know, I guess I'm part of the problem because I just want more Immortan Joe and War Boys and stuff.
Yeah, I had when I saw the motorcycle chariot, that was earlier, and I was like, oh, awesome. So they do have like great new ideas for vehicles, you know. So it was
that was in the trailer. Did you see it in the trailer?
I don't think I noticed in the trailer. No, I was too offended by everything.
Yeah, do you know what? To Hunter's point, like compared to what the trailer portrayed, it was way better than the trailer made it seem.
Yeah, I could let it go. I could definitely see it though, and I wonder if part of it is just me, like I'm too autistic, especially very specifically about rocks. I really like rocks.
That would 100% be the most autistic.
When I see a fake rock, I'm like, that's a goddamn fake rock that should have been real, so I could appreciate it.
Yeah, I like your big nitpicks, fucking structural integrity and rocks.
That's right.
That is autism at its very base.
And Fury Road had none of them.
That's true.
It was a flawless movie.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Still, so I got into the film a bit late, and the first thing I saw was Kid Furiosa get stolen, like from the Greenland. That was like the very first thing I saw, was her get grabbed by those bikers. What happened before that?
Not a lot. She was like picking a
peach
fruit with her sister, and then she sees the bikers, and then she goes down to cut their brake lines or their gas lines, so that they can't get away.
The bikers are killing her horse for meat.
Mm-hmm.
Did they explain how the bikers even found the green place?
I think they just stumbled upon it.
They just like happened upon it. That was actually something that annoyed me as well. Is her being from there and being named in that place Furiosa, and then her sister's name was like Valkyrie or something, but it kind of makes, like, in Fury Road, her name being Furiosa, like, you assume, like, oh, okay, because she drives the big truck that drives on the Fury Road, like, she kind of, like, that kind of became her name, you know what I mean? Without having to explain it. It just seems kind of like lore tied to her job and like the environment, but to be named that and also be from like the place of abundance was just kind of dumb, I thought. Like, she should have had another name and then like earned that, so it's all congruent still with the first movie.
Her name was Queef, and then she left the fucking green place and became Furiosa.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can, you know, if you want to be lazy, just chalk everything up to the history man, like telling this story badly. I
did keep feeling like it looked like 300 in certain shots.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like when her mum's on the like cross.
Yeah,
the tree
God.
Thing.
Yeah, I just didn't quite like the color scheme for the you know, most of like the car chase stuff too during the day. But my heart kind of goes out for them because I could tell that they're trying to do a saturated desert look, you know, for this movie that's still differentiated from the first one. But it was kind of like the sands were more yellow and the sky was like a different blue, and I just didn't find it as like nice, you know, as Fury Road. And it kind of reminds me of making our own cartoons. Like sometimes when you go for like a look with colors and stuff, like it just doesn't quite gel and you can't find it. And so much of like the middle movie in terms of the look with like the color and all the CGI and shit was kind of wrapped up like that for me. It just like it wasn't quite as nice. You know what I'm saying?
Let me fucking tell you though, the War Rig's horn was fucking tight.
Yeah.
I could listen to that sound all day.
Yeah, the sound design of the movie was sick. I kept thinking that actually, like whenever I was not appreciating the CGI, then the like sound effects were awesome and kind of sold it, like all the engines and everything.
Yeah, sound was pretty fucking tight. I thought the whirly-dirly fucking Bobby snobby thingy giga weapon was way overhyped. They built this thing up to be sick and it's just like whirly chain balls.
Yeah. And also, why not like have it on the whole time? Or way earlier. You know?
It probably takes too much gasoline or something. I thought, do you know what I thought was sick was like the little like weird rat like lines they had under the thing that they could like slide along to repair shit.
Right.
I liked all those small details too, where they're like, we need a new like brake line or whatever, and they're like, okay, here's a fucking brake. Like they had supplies for the war rig. Like it seemed really fucking tight.
The piss boy
I thought the whole
thing
war
was
rig
kind of
was
funny.
sick. Yeah,
There's a guy covered in piss
that was one
cans.
time.
He has to
That
pour
was
it
one
in the
time where I was
radiator.
like, when he's like, drink my beautiful piss, my lovely. I was like, I don't know about it.
I don't remember that part. What happened?
Just the piss boy is like whispering
when-
sweet
oh,
nothings
when
to
he's-
the engine as he
to
pours
the-
his piss in.
To the-
Which is like funny, but it was, I don't know why I was just like, I don't know.
I feel you.
Drink down my wonderful urine, my sweet princess. I was like, nah.
There's something that orbits the same bad thing as like I didn't like the first war boy they met. Did you get that at all? The guy with like an arrow in his
Yes, I
head.
did, and Hunter explained why.
He's a
Yeah,
Hunter, go
he's
ahead.
a TikTok star.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
He makes music on TikTok.
Yeah,
All makes sense now, right?
it does.
You sensed it.
Well, what I was,
you know what it was?
I was
It's
going to
because
say
he
is
was like a-
he distinctly felt like a guy in a war boy costume versus an actual war boy.
Yes, because his fucking has the most bulbous, disgusting cranium you've ever seen, and like every war boy you see in, honestly, in Fury Road and every point onward in Furiosa has that same like phenotype, kind of a very like scrawny but not necessarily short and like angular face, right?
It's kind of
Whereas that kid was
sinewy
just
fellas.
all like, yeah, sinewy,
Yeah.
that's great. Whereas that guy was just like all fucking like just odd. And you'd think that wouldn't be a problem, but I don't know, something about it was off.
It looked like a Halloween costume. It looked like a like YouTube action skit war boy, you know.
Yes. Which is funny because literally like a moment later they show the most perfect war boy to jump off with his two fucking rocket spears.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what war boys look like. With fucking dopey ears and cut jaw.
So
Well,
the dude with the piss, I think saying that line was just kind of, it kind of had that same spirit of like this isn't fully realizing what these guys are. It feels like somebody like role playing as, you know what I mean? It's just something
Maybe
like
he
slightly
got
off
nervous.
about it.
maybe I was like, this is so stupid. he got self-conscious when he said it. You know when you like try and make a joke but you don't full send it enough and it just comes across as like it just ruins it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I feel like maybe that was it. You know, he just had to full send the line. It would have worked. Don, what's your rating out of 10?
I was gonna say 7 too.
Well,
Not to
there
go
we
with
go.
the
It's
crowd.
official.
Yeah,
They can
as I
put
said,
they can put it on movie posters.
I did really enjoy it. I thought it only dragged a little, but yeah, overall, like Hunter was saying, like I did have a really good time watching it. It just really didn't hold a candle to Fury Road for me, but like on its own merits in a vacuum, I think is like a good movie for sure.
Definitely
Yeah,
a
I'll
movie
say
to
I'll give it that.
definitely
It didn't drag.
definitely a movie to see in theaters. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%, 1,000,000%. A gazillion, bajillion %. Well, where did you go from here?
How was the cruise, Don?
yeah, it was fun. I think I was telling Tom the main event was seeing Alaska, less so much the cruise.
Oh, nice. So it was the one where you guys actually go north versus down to the islands.
Yeah. So got off like on all the Alaskan towns and saw that stuff, like glaciers and waterfalls and
Where
stuff.
was the port at that you guys left from?
Seattle.
Oh, okay. Damn. Okay, so that must have been a journey.
Yeah, it cruises for 3 days and then I guess passes everything and gets to the furthest location and then you stop everywhere on the way back
Oh, I see.
each day. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool, man. I'd never been on a cruise before. I've got some funny things to say about the cruise. I think, like the boat itself, like I don't know. Have you ever been on a cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah, how many?
One.
What kind of cruises?
I went
This is
Bahamas.
research. This is
You're like a
science
cruise
research.
expert now.
Huh?
Says you're like a cruise expert now.
No, I'm not at all. But
I think it was
have
like a carnival. I
curiosities.
think it was like a carnival cruise that went down to like the Bahamas and back.
How big was the boat? Do you remember?
It felt
Was
like a
just
giant. It felt like a giant boat.
So I had like, it was not what I expected, in that I always looked at cruises as kind of like, I mean, certainly like the Bahamas ones, as kind of like a whole bunch of people go and like get drunk, you know,
Yeah.
and are like kind of crazy for a week. But it was not that at all going to Alaska. But it was expensive. Like my girlfriend's family paid for it, but I think it was like $1,000 a person. But the clientele on the boat was, to the person, like really old people and like retards, which surprised me. I thought it would be like kind of young traveling people, you know?
Wait, you thought the cruise would be like young people?
Well, you go because you're going to like sightsee and see. I mean, especially with the Bahamas one, obviously, because it's like a big like vacation thing. But even the Alaskan one, like I don't know why you go to Alaska and not like go see stuff, like get off the boat and go like walk and hike and stuff.
So this is actually interesting because, like, I think on the last episode of Cream Crew, where we briefly, like at the beginning, were just like, oh yeah, Don's on a cruise, that's why he's not here. I said, I was like, I feel like cruises are for people who are 100 years old, just like ancient.
Oh no!
And I was
Well,
trying to figure out,
I did not know that, but evidently that's true. Yeah, it was like, yeah, like a major retirement activity vibes.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
I think it must be because probably cruises are fucking expensive as shit, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Apparently, there's some people that
younger people
that retire on them. Like instead of getting a house, they just like pay to be on a cruise.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
But
I can kind of even sort of get why they do that, because it's like, oh well, this is literally like, not only is it a retirement, it's like hospice, it's end of life care, like it's everything you could ever want. But good God,
all your meals are prepared for you.
Yeah.
And
you can
like,
just fucking
taken care
throw
of.
yourself off the side when you're done.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, why not? Well, you won't catch me on one, to tell you that for free. It's too scary. Were there any big waves?
No, not really. You didn't even really feel it. Like it wobbled a little bit. That was something else that happened though. I was pleasantly surprised that I was the only one that didn't have any seasickness problems. Like I didn't have to take any
Oh no, not Giga Chad.
Yeah,
not
but
Giga
then,
Chad Don.
but then I get off the boat and I forgot how to be on land. Like my body forgets how to be on land, and apparently that's a thing. Like if you don't have seasickness problems, you can't like find stability again when you're not on a boat.
You're literally in a wheelchair right now.
I fucking could be, I guess.
Are you still experiencing your wobbly leg syndrome?
Yeah.
it's so gay.
It's incredibly gay. It's been like 4 days, and when I stand up, my body literally thinks it's still on a boat and like kind of rocks from side to side, like the whole world is moving.
You are so in your own head. You gotta just stop it. Just knock it off. Just knock it off with your wobbly leg syndrome. Just stop.
I think this just means I was meant to be a pirate, dude.
That's fair. Old peg leg Gregor. I like that. All right, well, that was a fantastic episode of Creep Crew. I hope you guys really enjoyed Furiosa, and we'll fucking see you next time.
Bye. Bye.